What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Unique Mazique, the hardest working man in sports and gaming. I am a fight guy and a Forbes contributor, also writing for Heavy.com. We're talking UFC Fight Night 171, taking place on Wednesday from Jacksonville, Florida. It is still a fanless event, but we are still breaking down every single fight, giving you the odds and predictions for every fight from the preliminaries all the way up to the main card, which is where we are now. If you want to see the other prediction videos in the upper right corner, you can click that link there and you can see it. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and also click the notifications bell so you can see all of the content that comes on the fight, guys. Let's look at these odds. Right now, Marvin Vettori is a minus 188 favorite to defeat Karl Roberson, who was a plus 163 underdog. These odds got a little bit wider right after the weigh-in because Karl Roberson was the only fighter on the card to miss weight. He missed weight, not quite as bad as Jeremy Stephens did on Saturday, but still a pretty wide miss. I think it was a little bit over 2 pounds. That cost him 20% of his purse, which will go to Marvin Vettori. And as I said, Vettori was already the favorite to win this fight, but with the weigh-in situation, it went a little bit more in his favor. So basically, money started coming in more on Vettori because Robertson didn't make weight. Robertson is one of those guys who, when you look at him and you look back at what he did on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, which is back in 2017, when he knocked out Ryan Spann in 15 seconds, everybody went goo goo gaga for the guy. And then he kind of backed it up in his next fight, his first fight on the roster, when he submitted Darren Stewart via rear naked choke. But then he got a little bit brought down to earth. Got submitted by Cesar Ferreira in the next fight. Did beat Jack Marshman by unanimous decision. But if anybody knows Jack Marshman, Marshman stands up, wants to strike, not going to move the head much. He's going to take shots until he can't take them anymore. And Robertson won that one by unanimous decision. Had a significant step up against Glover Teixeira, got submitted. But now he's on a 2-fight winning streak, having beaten Wellington Turman and Roman Kopylov in his last 2 fights. Won the last one by a submission. But Vettori, I think, represents another step up for Robertson. And also, we don't know what's going to happen in regards to the impact that he'll feel from missing weight. We don't know if he went hard trying to make it and he might feel a bit depleted. We don't know. What I do know about Vettori is that he has a fantastic chin. As a matter of fact, he's never been stopped in his mixed martial arts career, and that included a head-to-head meeting with the current UFC middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya, and Adesanya hit him with some good shots, and he could not get him out of there. And Vettori did some good work taking that fight to the ground. Now, I don't know if taking the fight to the ground is necessarily what he wants to do with Robertson, because that is one of Robertson's strengths, even though we have seen he can be had via submissions, because both of his losses in the UFC came via submission. So this is an interesting fight to me. But I'm gonna tell you something. Robertson, from a defensive standpoint, is a flawed fighter, and he has to clean up some of those areas. And if his opponent does not wilt from some of the initial charges and advances that he does on the feet, and he's not able to gain top position so that he can get into ground and pound situations, he tends to struggle a bit. And I don't see him being able to get Vettori in that type of position. This is a very tough fighter in Vettori. He's still very young. He's still actually getting better. He's only 26 years old, but he's been fighting in the UFC since 2016. And he's had a nice run himself. He's on a 2-fight win streak as well. He beat Andrew Sanchez in his last fight, and he also beat Cesar Ferreira by unanimous decision back in July 2019. So that's a common opponent that he and Robertson have. So if you look at Vettori's last 3 fights, you gotta be actually, you can go back last 4 fights, because if you go to December of 2017, he had a draw with Omari Akhmedov, which is certainly not a negative mark or a black mark on his resume. Akhmedov is a good fighter. Right after that, he loses a split decision to Israel Adesanya, a split decision. So one judge gave Vettori the fight over the current champion. That's something we're gonna have to remember. Then he beats Cesar Ferreira, and then he beats Andrew Sanchez. This is significant, right? So this shows you the type of fighter this guy is. And if you think about it, he's only 26. He was even younger when those fights took place. 24-year-old Vettori got a split decision against, or lost a split decision to Israel Adesanya. Got to think about that. I just like Vettori in this fight. I think that he has less holes in the game. I think that from a chin standpoint, I think he is able to compensate for some of the mistakes he might make. And I think he overpowers Roberson. And I can actually see him getting this victory via rear naked choke. And I haven't been that specific in my predictions, but a rear naked choke or guillotine, I can see him getting Roberson in that situation. Maybe after he hurts him with a strike, maybe some works his way to take the back from some sort of grappling exchange or scramble. But I like Vettori to win this fight pretty definitively, and I think he'll win it by I think he'll win it by submission. If he doesn't get it by submission, I think I would definitely see him getting this by a decision. But he does have 8 victories by submission in his career, even though he hasn't had a submission since 2016. But that was in the UFC, as actually in his UFC debut. So I like him getting this win, doing some damage and doing some good work on the ground, and being able to evade what might be an athletic disadvantage or an athletic advantage that Karl Roberson experiences or enjoys. So I like Vettori. I want to hear what you guys say in the comments. As usual, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and also take a look at the other odds and prediction videos by clicking the link in the upper right corner. God bless and peace.